I hope umetune mbulu yako pale kwa the leading news station, that is KTN News. Show moja jamo ya vungu ishaanza, #Youth Cafe. Conversation inaenda kuwa moto kama pasi kwa sababu tunaangalia the plight of universities. Na hapa hivi ndani ya studio tuko na panel jamo ya vungu. Gentleman amekaa karibu na mimi, anaitwa Wycliffe Kipsang. Yeye ndio orezo mmoja wa nguvu, ndio anaingia tu saa hii Kenyatta University. Karibu sana man.
Thank you.
Aya, pale next unaona ni Dame, Iron Lady all the way from Daystar University, anaitwa Karetha. Hiyo jina ingine na kuwa gumu. Kerimi. Umesikia hiyo jina vile iko creamy, ako ndani ya nyumba, na pia hii conversation inaenda kuwa moto. Na pale karibu na Zinzi ni gentleman anaitwa Sam. Ndani ya nyumba, representative from University of Nairobi. Karibuni.
All right. So I just want to start to kick off this conversation with one question, and maybe just one word. How would you describe your current university? One adjective, Sam.
The university, we're the best. I think it's in Central Africa.
All right.
We're the best in Africa.
How would you describe your current state in university?
Can do better.
Can do better. I like that.
Progressive.
Yeah. All right. So the thing is, we have both public and private university represented here. It's no lie that the challenges that are faced both in public and private are there. Administration to begin with. For you, Wycliffe, could you paint for us the problem that students are facing within KU University?
Yeah, thank you. I would start by saying that, problems facing institutions of higher learning, especially universities in Kenya, are a little bit common, regardless of whether it's public or private. Kenyatta University is not an exceptional for that matter, that it is affected by challenges affecting other institutions of higher learning. And I would say the very problem affecting Kenyatta University at the moment is, this year, a lot of programs have been disoriented. The academic calendar has totally been distorted. Considering that we had lecturer strikes which took 54 days just this year. And then we were struggling to catch up with the calendar, to try, make up for the time that had been lost within the 54 days that lecturer strike had gone off. And, the semester was to resume. Exams were to be done within the same semester. Attachments, students were to go for attachment, and so on. So when the calendar was a little distorted, Kenyatta University did its best, to fix it and make that semester happen. Right. And after the semester happened, we again had to, before we thought that the university is catching up. Remember, there are students even from the School of Medicine who are affected by the doctor strike. Remember, their dons are doctors again. And again, the very prolonged nurses strike, which just ended the other day. And then now the lecturer strike started again. So this became a bit a challenge, and it affected the running of the programs of the institution, and it created a state of anxiety before the students.
Karitha, for you, Daystar.
Yeah.
Paint for us an image what is happening there, because it is a private university.
Yes.
The teacher strike, or rather the lecture strike, is not affecting them.
That's true.
So what is applied for students in Daystar University?
The main challenge in Daystar University right now is you have a situation where management is not listening to students. Students have been isolated, mainly by management. So you have a situation where you've been raising the same issues for over 5 years, and nothing gets done.
E.g., some of those issues.
We have a health service provider on campus who has been accused of everything from misdiagnosis to treating patients with the wrong medicine, and you see nothing gets done. Every student government that comes in will say, well, this healthcare provider needs to go, and you'll be told, oh no, we'll change it, and all they do is they'll paint a new color on the walls and nothing will get changed. And what you're essentially doing is you're putting students' lives at danger, and you will not listen to their concerns, and you'll treat them as if it's a nuisance. And that's just right off the top of my head. You have other serious management concerns around how student concerns are handled in regards to how their facilities are maintained. Are the academic programs evolving with the state of the market? Are the academic programs evolving with what students need? No, they are not. Are you investing in student welfare? Are you investing in sports? Are you investing in facilities? No, you're not. You're investing in programs that look marketable but do not serve your current student population. They serve something you call prospective students, students who have not yet joined. But the students who are there today, you're not serving them.
Sam, Wycliffe painted a perfect image for us in regards to what's happening within our public universities. Could you add to that as you represent UN?
Okay, I think the first issue we talk about the geographical location of the university. The University of Nairobi being located at the CBD, we experience many challenges, starting from lifestyle. We have hostels, accommodation that is, to also the challenges about the political. Number one thing is that is the problem is politics. You see the political arena in the country, specifically if you look at it, it revolves around UN. And UN being vibrant in its operations when it comes to politics. You always see when we have the elections, it's so vibrant, it is like the general elections. So being at the center of the city, we experience many challenges. Mm-hmm. We are not like the other universities because even the lifestyle itself, it's totally different from other universities. Mm-hmm. That's why at some point we say it is the university, because from the University of Nairobi, it is not about just learning. Mm-hmm. It is about developing yourself physically, intellectually, and also on how you can tackle on life issues.
Wacha nikukate short kidogo, lakini mimi na believe kumekuwa na strikes all over the place. Like Kipe University, Daystar University, Kenyatta University, University of Nairobi, hapo hivyo Oktoba ikiisha pia kulikuwa na strikes. Is strike the only solution? Like kuna shida ndio, mmejaribu mbinu zingine kama ndio hizo mbinu zimekuwa hizo strategies zimekuwa ni strategy gani, si ndio? Mtushu. Alafu pia mtu ambie is strike the only solution? Tafadhali.
Yeah, I would say that you will allow me to a little bit take you back to the situation last year in our high schools. Mm-hmm. That when the purportedly peaceful mechanisms of communication do not seem to yield fruits, mm-hmm. the young generation tend to move to the other alternative means to communicate. And you can even understand in Kenya. The other day, we just the beginning of the year, there were demonstrations on IBC must go. Mm-hmm. And it seemed to have yielded fruits. You know, it also paints that picture to the young people that maybe going to the streets, doing some, demonstrations, even at times going on rampage, makes people listen to them. But I tend to think that, it is time then, this is, we're talking about a new generation, a different generation to the previous years, mm-hmm. the young people of the previous years, mm-hmm. that it is time managements of universities and institutions of higher learning devise new mechanisms of listening to students. It's like the response, how they respond to issues raised, concerns raised. It takes long. And so maybe like my friend said, you may year in, year out, new student leadership body comes in, they raise the same issue, it looks like a chorus. Mm-hmm. If the institutions take slow, at times they are not true to the reality in the ground, because you realize that the vice chancellor, the registrars, the DVCs are there in big offices, and they may not be alive to the facts in the ground. And that then makes students to continue trying to raise those issues. And if they are not listened to, they tend to go on streets to try communicate.
Karwetha, talk to us.
Just to clarify, in Daystar, it's not a strike, it's a boycott, mm-hmm. and a go slow.
What's the difference?
The difference is, when you say a strike, mm-hmm. the implication is immediately that it's violent, that mm-hmm. we're doing something to scare someone. But mm-hmm. that's not what we're doing. A boycott or a go slow is intended to show you that things are not working the way they should. And in fact, if you're not listening, actually we had a silent protest because essentially our voices were not being listened to. So let's just not use them at all. Mm-hmm. So we just gathered and sat down and kept quiet and didn't go for class.
Has that been fruitful? Are you seeing any change? Because now what happens?
I am seeing change in the fact that people are listening to what we're saying. Actually, in Daystar, I think the systems that are there are not being used. If they used them, we wouldn't be where we are today. Mm-hmm. And we don't choose these avenues because we enjoy them. We're not going to class because we don't like class. We like class. That's why we're in university. We use them because we have tried to use all other methods exhaustively and nothing is working.
Is the university administration reaching out? Are you seeing any sort of solution being tabled?
The University Council has called for a meeting and the council is the final appeal for students, staff, and faculty. And we go there confident that we will see changes in how our management works and actually see change at the very top of the management.
Okay.
Ragira, wacha niulize tu, University of Nairobi, mmejaribu diplomacy na ikafail. Juu each and every single day tunaona kwa barabara sana because the university. Able to talk to us about that?
I think the first challenge we have in the university is that wherever there's some grievances and they are going to be addressed, we embrace dialogue, yes, but at some point you find out that the gap between the administration and the students diminishes because of, or widens because of the interests that the staff themselves, they have their own interests, the students, they have their interests, and when the interests does not come up together to form something that can be amicable between the two factions, you find out that there is a fallout. And when the fallout comes, you see the same way I said, the geographical location of the University of Nairobi, you find out that there are so many criminals who comes up to take up the advantage, to loot. You see, as students, we always come with something concrete or an idea that we want to pursue because we are intellectuals. We don't just go on throwing stones and all sorts, but there are some criminals elements that comes in who joins up the students and they take an advantage to loot from motorists, they loot from pedestrians. You see, that's how it happens.
And just to add, students don't cause boycotts. Administrations and managements that don't listen cause boycotts. Yeah.
All right, so Sam has brought up a very important issue, and that's criminals within protests. Because you find that those students who want to voice their concerns the right way, protesting or boycotting, some with University of Nairobi, it's popular. It's put outside there that every single time the university riots, it turns out into a different way. As students, can we find a better way of voicing our concerns, our problems, with it having to turn out ugly?
I think this could be achieved if the administration, they lower their ego and come down to the students, they talk to students. I think when you are given an office, you must use that office to talk to your people and not just sitting in an office. And if you talk to the students, I think there is no problem that cannot be solved through dialogue. And if you can just come up and look into your partners, because we are like partners at the university. There is administration, there are students. Students, they are also shareholders of the university. So the administrators, they have to come out and talk to their students. I think that's the problem. Because when you fail to talk to the students, when you fail to engage them, when you fail to talk to them, wherever there's a problem, you just come out, talk to them and say, yes, we'll do this and this. And if there's something that cannot be done, then you say out, no, we cannot do this. Yes, we can do this. I think as a human being, if somebody says no, it's a no. And if somebody says yes, it's a yes. So the problem is communication between the two factions, that's the administration and the students.
Wycliffe, unfortunately, the school that you represent, KU, was also one of the universities that has closed down. What are the feelings of the students about this issue? Because at the end of the day, it's students who are missing out on school. Those ones who are set to graduate may not graduate as it was planned out. What are the feelings of students when you speak to them?
I would first say that in KU, we rarely go that direction of the University of Nairobi. It is when it gets to the throat, maybe. We rarely, for KU students, we graduate within our timelines of studies. Within 4 years, we are guaranteed we'll graduate. In the University of Nairobi, you can take 6 years to graduate.
I think my friend should not use the University of Nairobi.
That's on a light note.
As a platform. You cannot build a story from the
Yeah, that's on a light note. Anyway,
I think when you say you don't behave like the university,
yeah, I would say
you're painting, you're just building your story on the
stereotypes.
Really, it's not about building. It is, it's what is outside there in the public domain. But I would say that in KU, those small things build up with time. And recently, then when when their exams were approaching, the students were so anxious, this lecturer strike, there was a lot of uncertainties. So things built up. It started as a small thing and ended up sparkling up. But really, it's not the direction that we wish to take. As a person, as a student leader now, as a newly elected student president, I wouldn't wish to see our students get injured, tear-gassed, beaten up during strikes. I would wish one of the mechanisms that we really want to establish in KU, I wouldn't say, I've been seeing NASA saying there's People's Assembly. For us, we want Comrades Assembly, where we establish a big platform where all the members of the university management, starting from the CEO, the vice chancellor, to the registrars, the directors, student affairs, and administrators come in.
Will it be in effect for both public and private universities?
Yeah, if they buy our idea, because it's a great idea.
How are you going to make sure that they buy that idea? How are you going to sell it to them? Because it's not easy.
Yeah,
so you're thinking of a place where all stakeholders come together?
Yeah, all
both
of us.
public and private universities.
That would be the bigger picture of it. But in KU, we wanted to establish a huge platform where we come up. All students assemble at one point, and we raise some of these things just need to be poured, to be just spoken. Some of the feelings, if you get the chance to just air out, to say what you feel, it even reduces that feeling by 50%. Then the university administration assures the students that it's going to be done. Then we have a follow-up every other time.
Someone to add to that.
I think the problem we do as students is that we want to emulate what is going on at the political arena of the country. I think we should come out of the politics of the country and come out as students, as intellectuals. You don't need to associate yourself with NASA, Jubilee, and those things.
In this we have a student baraza.
Just a minute. So when you just come up with such narratives like NASA, Jubilee, we fail to get the point, because we have not talked about a student there who only survives on 10 bob per day because he wants to get an ugali and a sukuma wiki to take for a day. I think we should be talking about proper funding, the research at the institutions, and also the help should also cater for, because, for example, the University of Nairobi and at the location, the life there is expensive.
Right.
So we need to know how to balance and how to push out the budget so that it can cater for the help for the students, so that it can increase to a tune like you can consider the people, the students who are located at the capital cities, and also we consider that. If you consider that, and then the students, they get enough, because sometimes students may get anchored because maybe it does not get enough to eat, and that is it's something that is the problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Closing remarks. As you, I want to start with you, but as you also respond to what you wanted to respond to his notion, give us a closing remarks. What do you want to see Daystar University do, especially now that it's the only private university that's on a go-slow?
I think what I actually wanted to add is that I think barazas are a great idea. We have them in Daystar. The only problem is the administration and management don't make much good use of it. The last time the Vice Chancellor attended a student baraza in Athi River campus, it was 2015 August. But otherwise, the idea is great, and it works if all parties have good faith.
Closing remarks?
Closing remarks are, students need to be listened to. We're not just noisemakers. We are not petty children. We have serious concerns. And as I had said earlier in the week, we are telling you the state of the nation within our universities. And what we're saying is actually important, and there are legitimate reasons.
All right, Wycliffe?
Yeah, what I would say as my closing remarks is that we should admit that there are issues, there are pertinent issues in our institutions of higher learning. And it is time even the government gives attention to these issues. Sometimes strikes happen in institutions of higher learning. It goes on, breaking news, KU closed, and then tomorrow we forget about it. It's time the government gives the same attention we even see, even now as we talk about swearing in and so on. It's time that attention is also given to institutions of higher learning, to universities, because these are the helm of the country. And then again, as I also finish up, is that the management of universities, there should be no rift. It's time they go to the ground. They become alive to facts and respond to them on time, because the issue here is time. Students raise issues, it takes years to be responded to, and at the end of the day, the whole situation gets messy.
All right. Sam, your last closing remarks.
Okay, I can say if we want a smooth running of the system, we should also not forget the politics that is involved with the university. And I think one thing that should be abolished is about the political suspensions and expulsions of students, because we need to nurture the young leaders so that we can have good leaders in future. We should not victimize leaders who are strong so that we can get weak leaders so that we can also manipulate the system. So we need to balance from the administration and also to the students.
All right.
So finally, I'll only request that also as students, we need to behave in a way that you don't sabotage the systems, so that the systems keeps on running, so that they can graduate in time. And also the administrators, they need to work with the students hand in hand.
Sam, Karithwa, Wycliffe, thank you so much for coming tonight and helping discuss